Hello, Internet. My name is Ryan Ingram, and this is the 10th episode of the Millionaire by 30s series. And today we're going to go over the mechanics of making $1,000,000. Now, this is kind of multiplication, a math problem. It's pretty elementary or entry level, but when I first heard this, it really kind of blew my mind and completely changed the way that I thought about businesses and how to scale those businesses. So let's jump right into it. Since it's multiplication, it can work in either direction. So if you could get 1,000 people to give you $1,000, then you would have $1,000,000. Now, as we're talking about this now, let's just presume that we're trying to accomplish this in a 12-month period or like on an annual basis. So you could also get 500 people to give you $2,000 or 2,000 people to give you $500. Now, let's just run through all of these because it would make me feel better if I just said all of them. 250 people to give you $4,000, 100 people to give you $10,000, 10 people to give you $100,000, 5 people to give you 200, 2.5 people to give you $400,000, 1 person to give you $1,000,000, and then half a person to give you $2 million, or a tenth of a person to give you $10 million. Now, because this works both ways, the way that I just said it, a half of a person to give you $2 million, that's really silly, right? But you can also flip it on its head. On this side, it's kind of, I kind of see this as being very skilled or highly skilled. So if you could convince a half of a person or 1 person to give you $1,000,000, you are offering some sort of service that is very skilled. You've really dialed something in. You're offering a very high-priced product to 1 individual. But just as easily, you could kind of turn that around, and on this side, you kind of just become likable. So if we were to do it on the other way, if you got 2 million people to give you 50 cents, then the skill is almost out of the window. You don't have to be very skilled to convince somebody to give you 50 cents. But in order to scale it to where you're getting in front of 2 million people and convincing them to give you 50 cents, then yes, that does take skill, and you've created something that is extraordinarily scalable. Now, I have spent hours looking at this math problem. I've got it written on another one of my whiteboards. It's a lot smaller, but nonetheless, sometimes I just sit in my chair and ponder this math problem and what I can do in order to make these numbers a reality. And one of the things that I think of, I don't know if you do this, but if you are, let's say, watching a movie and let's say Johnny Depp is in it, then, you might take to Google and say Johnny Depp net worth. And it's pretty high. So he's a very skilled individual from acting, I suppose, but he also tapped into the likability. And while you may have never taken any money out of your pocket and given it to Johnny Depp, you pay for Netflix, which somehow trickles down and gets that money to Johnny Depp, right? So he has tapped into, let's say, everybody. If Netflix were to give him 10 cents for each time one of his movies were watched, then Netflix has this giant base where much more than 10 million people are on there looking for things to watch. Now, I had this realization when I was watching a movie. I don't remember what movie, I don't remember who the actor was, but he was easily the worst actor that I have ever seen in a movie. I Googled him and his net worth, and he was worth somewhere in the ballpark of 3 million. Now, how accurate that is, I really don't know. I know for sure that nobody can Google my net worth, so I don't know what these people are using to estimate that. But nonetheless, he was horrible at what he was setting out to be good at, in my humble opinion. But nonetheless, he had a tremendous net worth. And the reason for that is he tapped into the likable side of this math problem. He convinced so many people to give him, 10 cents or less, and he had such a wide audience that it didn't really matter the amount of money. You could even take this down to another zero and get a penny from 100 million people. If you want to become a millionaire, then I would highly recommend that you write this down somewhere and look at it often. Ponder what do you need to do to make these numbers a reality. And I also think this is really good for keeping your business in check and holding yourself accountable to what it is you're actually attempting to do. So, for example, in my insurance agency, I know that the average policy that I write results in somewhere around $100 of commission. So if we were to use this, if I know that I will likely receive around $100 for each policy that I write, then in order to make $1 million on an annual basis, then I'll need about 10 million policies in force. Now that's a lot of policies, and I could break it down more so and say that my average client has about 4 policies. So then you could divide this by 4, and now I know that I need 2,500 clients in order to make $1 million annually. Now you can also apply this to your real estate business. So for example, if you know that you make $100 per door, then times that by 12, you're at 1,200. And just for ease of use, because we already have this written, let's just knock it down by $200. So you make like $83.33 per door per month. So you have $1,000 that you put in your pocket per property per year. So now you know that you need 1,000 doors in order to profit $1 million per year. Now again, I know this seems simple, but when my wife and I started our first business, we accidentally pigeonholed ourselves because we were providing a product specifically to a geographical region. We capped ourselves out very quickly because let's say there was 250,000 people in that entire area, then we could never cross this threshold, and that would be assuming that 100% of the people in that geographical region were our clients. So on that business, we had a scaling problem, which is why we ultimately closed it. All right, now another thing that I wanted to talk about is a book called The Millionaire Fast Lane. This was a book written by MJ DeMarco. I highly recommend that you read it, but if you don't want to read it, then I've attached a link to a video that I think summarizes it very well, along with having a brief interview with MJ DeMarco towards the end of it. So please check out that video just so you can elaborate on this, because I'm going to go over this very quickly. So ultimately what MJ DeMarco says is when you create your business, then you need to focus on these things. The need, you need to make sure that your business fulfills a need for someone. We went over that previously, but we called it like adding value to someone's life, right? So there has to be a giant need that your business can fill in order for your business to succeed. Now, barrier to entry, this is a fun one. What this means is you want there to be a higher than normal entry level. If you are going to a seminar that thousands of other people are going to as well, that are teaching you how to make money in one specific manner, then before too long, all the other people at that seminar and all of the other seminars afterwards are going to be your competition. So it's going to turn into a red ocean very quickly, where people no longer care about the relationship piece. They just want that commodity or whatever service it's offering, if it's truly filling a need. And if you're not familiar with the red ocean, blue ocean theory, pretty much a blue ocean is when you have very little competition. You kind of get to set your own price. Red ocean is when everything is extraordinarily competitive and price is the driving factor in people's purchases. You really want to strive to make sure that your business is in that blue ocean category. Now, control, this is really important. This is one that I have overlooked in a lot of my businesses. Control means that you have complete control over the product it is that you provide to your client. At the insurance agency, I do not have control. The insurance companies that I represent are the ones that have control over the product. I'm just like a middleman or a salesman. So I often have to deliver bad news to my clients. I shouldn't say often. Sometimes I have to deliver bad news to my clients if a claim is rejected for a silly reason, or if the premium increases on an annual basis, even though they didn't have claims or anything like that. I have to be the bearer of bad news because ultimately I don't have control over the product. Consequently, the insurance companies could at any given time change how much commission it is that they pay me. So let's say the insurance companies right now pay 15% on average commission. They could ultimately decide, hey, we're only going to give you a 10% commission now, in which case I now suffer a 33% reduction in my pay, which would not be fun at all. That would be so detrimental that I might even consider getting out of the industry. So all that to say, you want to make sure that you have complete control over the product that you are offering to your client. Scale, this is a really big one. This is one of the reasons that my wife and I shut down our first business that we just explained, because we miscalculated. We weren't quite sure what we were doing. We just wanted to dip our toes into the waters of capitalism. So we provided a product specifically for a particular region in which we weren't able to really benefit from scale, because let's say we had 100% conversion to every single person that lived in that area, we would cap out at 250,000 people. So we shifted and ultimately canceled that business. And time, this is a big one. This is one that we have talked a lot about before, especially in the how to earn money. Ultimately, regardless of what business you decide that you want to start, you want to make sure that it is not dependent on your time. And the example that he uses primarily is if you are doing a 1-hour coaching call, then the money that you're making is completely dependent on your time. But if you create a course and you offer that, it's like a pre-recorded course, and you sell it for $100, $200, then now that product is not dependent on your time at all. You just have it on the website, available forever. You just have the course linked to whatever website or whatever funnel so that people can determine that they want to buy that course and then purchase that from you. All right, so thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. This is a lot of information and just a basic math problem that I wish I knew whenever I got started many years ago in this entrepreneurial journey, so that I could have a little bit more success from where I am now. So hopefully this was helpful to you and resonated in some way. Please write this down somewhere where you see it often and start thinking about the services, the businesses, or whatever product it is that you're going to offer in these terms, because this is a really powerful equation that you could easily harness and kind of just translate into your business immediately. So thanks so much. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, want any sort of clarification, please comment. I will be hanging out in the comments and answering all that I can. So thanks so much, and can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Thanks.